Hello and welcome to the GrianaigCreations podcast channel. This is episode 96. If that is wrong, I will correct it later. But good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you're watching this, and welcome or welcome back. I hope you enjoy this podcast. There's a lot of podcasts out there, and if mine isn't for you, then that's absolutely fine. I do hope you will find one that suits you as an individual, but if you do need any recommendations, pop it in the comments, or if you have recommendations, also pop them in the comments. My name is Kirsty, my pronouns are they, them, and I am coming to you from an extremely soggy and foggy Paisley based in Scotland. Hello. Always good to get that first bit out of the way, but on the top of all of this, I just want to announce that today is my 7-year podcast anniversary. That's right, folks, 7 years ago on this day I put up my very first episode, and oh my goodness, I remember trying to record that episode. It took me hours. I just was not happy with anything in the podcast at all, and by the time I was okay with it, I had completely lost the light. I was obviously recording in the middle of winter. I had lost the natural daylight. I was using lamps and stuff, and oh my goodness, I'd like to think I've come a long way in 7 years, but let's face it, I am by no means a perfectionist, and I just roll with the punches basically. And even recording today was not planned. I had no intentions of recording a podcast today, but I had an inkling last night that it was coming up for my podiversary. And I just went on my YouTube and I checked it and I was like, yeah, that's 7 years today will be the time. And probably by the time I get this up, it'll be bang on like the 7-year mark, because I posted it quite late in the evening. But I just want to say a huge thank you if you're watching this podcast, if you are a subscriber, a returning viewer, subscriber or not. I just want to say a huge thank you for sticking with me and being with me along my crafting journey. If you've been with me from the very beginning, or whether you've come halfway along or whatever, just know that I really do appreciate you. There are a lot of podcasts out there, and I am by no means a large podcaster on this platform, but know that I do appreciate every single one of you that have subscribed and have watched. So with all that to say, I would like to give a kind of thank you type prize, and I'm really flying completely off the radar right now, trying to think of a prompt off the top of my head. But basically I want to gift a pattern. I know in myself I'm really bad trying to get to the post office, so I'm not going to make promises to make a bag or anything. I already have a promise to do that for my friend Amy, who won the Halloween sock along, and I have a selection of bags for her to pick from. But I just know in myself, adding on top of that to try to get to the post office really isn't in my best interest. And I know that sounds bad, but please do remember I do have a chronic illness. Yesterday I was particularly unwell. I really bounced back today and feel 100% better. But I just know in myself it is not easy for me to get to the post office, even though it's 10-minute walk from my house. It is what it is. So instead, I would like to gift a pattern, whether that is crochet, whether that is knitting, whether that is cross stitch. I would like to gift one, maybe two people, I will decide later on, a pattern of their choice or from their wish list, whether that's on Ravelry, or if you can gift on Payhip or Lovecrafts, please let me know. I've never done it. But basically I would like a prompt from you to say what is something that's made you really happy this week. This is a really tough time of year for a lot of people, and I hope something good has happened to each and every one of you at least one time this week. So to share kind of uplifting stories maybe, or just an uplifting event that's happened. Like, I know some people will be really happy it's been the festive period, but just share in the comments down below one good thing that has happened to you this last week. And from there I will use a random number generator to select a winner or two. You never know, I might pick 3 or 4, but it will be a pattern of your choice, up to a limit of probably £8, £8 British, because some patterns are very expensive these days and I'm not able to spend that much money on just a single pattern, unfortunately. So let's recap that, because that was a lot of rambling. As a way to celebrate my podiversary, I will be gifting a pattern or 2, maybe 3 or 4, to a random chosen winner. All you have to do is jump into the comments below and write one good thing that has happened to you this week. Please note you do have to be a subscriber to the channel, and it would be really nice if you also just hit the like button as well. So let's get into what I've been working on, and let's start with some finished objects. So first of all, I thought it'd be really good to show off the finished sweater in better light. I know I've posted a lot of videos for Yomas in between this and my last podcast episode, and looking back at that clip, it was really difficult to see the colour of the sweater considering how dark it was, and it was also sitting right by my window, which was going to cast a huge shadow. So this is the colour, main colour of my Care sweater, and then here is the contrast colour work on the sleeve. So if you've seen my sofa in daylight, this colour should look very, very familiar, and I did touch upon that when I was talking about this sweater, that this is exactly the same colour as my sofas, which I do find quite funny, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, I just wanted to show this off in nicer light so that you can see the true colour of this sweater. And again, I'm just really pleased with the colour work. Like, proud as punch basically with that colour work. So now that that is out of the way, I do have 2 finished objects and a few works in progress, and then some talking at the end and some yarny stuff. So if you watched my last podcast, you may have remembered me saying I wanted to do some Christmas knitting. Specifically, I wanted to make some sweaters for my goddaughters. I have 2 goddaughters. I am blessed to have 2 goddaughters that are my best friend's little ones. One is 6 and will be 7 in summer, and the other one is 2. And I thought, easy breezy, they're tiny, like it shouldn't take me that long to knit them a sweater. I was wrong. The littlest one, it's done, and I actually think it's going to be too big for her. And it's in this gorgeous blue colour. Like, Kirsty and I, my best friend, we're of the belief that colours aren't gendered. So blue is not for boys, pink is not for girls. If you're of that belief, on you go. I am not going to try and argue with you. I'm not going to try and get my point across, but colour is colour. Simple as that. So I've made it in this really gorgeous, deep kind of like midnight blue. And this pattern is sitting in my phone, so I should be able to get it. This is the Tweedy Junior by Hedgehog Fibers, or Beta Jizek. Sorry if that's wrong. And I knit this in a slightly bigger size than probably is needed for my goddaughter. And I've still got to weave the ends in, of course I do. I'm really happy with how this has come out, and I think I managed to knit all of this on I can't remember, a 40cm cable and a 9-inch cable for the sleeves, because it turns out I have no idea where all my DPNs have gone. I have a set of DPNs between, I think a 2mm and maybe like an 8mm, maybe 6mm. 6 might be the highest it goes to. And I can't find them. They have grown feet and disappeared. Don't know where they've gone at all. I've turned this place upside down looking for them, and they're just gone. So this is the Tweedy Junior, and I think I knit this in one of the biggest sizes. The pattern's now open on my phone, so I could probably just look and see. So yeah, I done the size 2 to 3, even though my goddaughter is only 2, and it should fit her now and until at least next winter, maybe into the start of 2024, unless she takes like this huge growth spurt, which is highly possible. So I done all the ribbing on a 4mm, and then I done the body on a 4.5, and this is Rico Designs, and it's in an It's in an acrylic. I didn't want my best friend to have a care in the world about whether or not she could wash this in the washing machine or bung it in the tumble dryer, because we all know what babies are like. They get food on them, they get messy, they get dirty. They don't care. They don't care about their clothes. They don't really understand what clothes are. It's just something between them and their skin, and they don't even know what skin is. So I just wanted her to not have to care about it and just be like, okay, everything in the wash, everything in the tumble dryer. Like, not having to sort through them and be like, is this wool, is it not wool, how do I care for it? So that's the first one. And the second one will be in works in progress, because I did not get it finished. Please note, this is the 27th, and I was meant to have them finished for Christmas. And then my next finished object, which also requires ends to be woven in, is a corner to corner crochet blanket. And it's a wee small one. It's just probably like a perfect for a baby or to cover a pram. Or for a kid, for a toy, maybe, for like a doll. But my mum had this Aran weight yarn that she just wasn't sure she was going to use. She had 4 balls, 2 in one colorway and 2 in another colorway. She just wasn't really sure if she would use them because it was Aran weight, and she offered them to me if I would make a blanket and then gift it back, because my mum does a lot of charity knitting, and I was like, yep, that's absolutely fine with me. I love a good corner to corner crochet blanket. And right enough, it was the only thing I wanted to work on for about a week solid, maybe a little bit less. And I altered the balls, so I went with, so call it like ball 1, which, where's the join for that, to here. So from the cast on to here was ball 1, and then from here to this brown here, this was ball 2. So you got ball 1, or colorway 1 to colorway 2, and then I've done colorway 2, where's the join? Join's all the way down here. So that was colorway 2, and then I went back to colorway 1. I was going to do 1, 2, 1, 2, but I don't know, there was just something, I really liked these colours in the middle, and I wanted the biggest sections with them. Like the purple and this really gorgeous, I would class it as kind of like a minty blue. And it's just a really gorgeous marled yarn. And I'm not sure if I actually have the ball band anywhere to tell you what yarn this was. But it was from like Hobie or Ice or something like that. One of the places where you order the yarn from Turkey. and you normally get it in quite big batches, like minimum of like 3 or 4 balls or something. But this was I think it was like a mystery pack, and that's why it was iron weight, and she doesn't really use iron. So this will have its ends woven in, and then it'll be given back to my mum, and it's either going to go to one of my cousins who is pregnant, or their partner's pregnant, and given to their baby when it's born, or it's going to become a charity knit. Well, crochet. Charity crochet. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. I love a good corner to corner crochet blanket, and it just flies, like it really flies off the hook, and it just makes me really happy as well. Like, it was simple, it was mindless, kind of. I had to keep remembering when to do my increases, and I had to refresh myself on how to do decreases, but once I got it, that was fine. But yeah, like I said, this will be going back to my mum once I've got the ends woven in, and it will be gifted or donated. Okay, so I think I only have one finished object left, and honestly, I don't know if I've shown it off before, so if I have, sorry. If I've not, enjoy. I decided to kind of make some necklaces. I say necklaces in the plural when really it's only singular. I have the start of one up here on my little mannequin. So I've got the start chain of one. I've just not done anything else with it. So this is literally just the chain. The other one, I'd put it on, but it would just totally clash with like my whole outfit. My whole outfit clashes anyway, I don't care. But I added some like neon pink. I got a feeling I showed this off, but you know that way, like at the same point I'm not 100% sure. So I was inspired by Julie, who used to podcast. She was wearing this collar, this really gorgeous ruffly collar, to the Glasgow School of Yarn, and I ran into Julie and her mum. Yeah, I think I've spoke about this before, so I have shown it off. But I was really, really inspired by Julie's knitted collar. And she gave me the name of the designer, and then I decided I don't really want anything at the back. I feel like that would be quite bulky, and really I only want something from like collarbone to collarbone or shoulder to shoulder. And so I kind of put the ruffles of the collar and the knitted necklace workshop I done with Maddie Harvey, and I combined the two, and I just like went for it. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no instructions. I just decided to do an I-cord section with kind of like this ribbon chain t-shirt-ish yarn, and then from there I done a little bit of marled yarn. So there's a neon with a darker pink in there, and then unfortunately I did run out of the darker colour, so I bound off purely in the neon. And I think it's gorgeous. Like, I can't wait for summer to wear this, because at the moment it's just, you probably could wear it over a sweater and a big bulky like top. I've got like 3 layers on just now. I've got a sweater, a t-shirt, and then a long sleeve t-shirt underneath that. And I already feel quite bulky, and so I'm not wearing it just now. And also, I really don't know how much green and neon pink go together, although mind you, orange and green. But yeah, I think I'm going to make a couple, and then this one, the ruffle is quite extreme. Extreme's not maybe the right word. It's just very ruffly. And I think I want to do one where it's a slightly more subtle ruffle. So I need to kind of look back at what I've done. I've got a rough idea of what my increases were, and I'm going to make like a couple of variations and then see. But I think it would just be really nice, and I might make some for like a friend or two. Maybe not neon. Like, I don't know many people that love neon as much as I do. But yeah, that is finished. The only thing I was wanting to do to really complete it was get some wooden beads, because currently this is like the end. And I went up to Hobbycraft during December. Well, it's still December. But I went up to Hobbycraft during my like recording for Yomis, and Hobbycraft really had a terrible selection of beads. Like, really, really terrible selection. And so I'm gonna have to go online to find what to find what I'm looking for, because I just want something to finish it off and tie it at the end, so that it's also kind of holding the weight at the back a wee bit as well, and also to try to minimise any further fraying. Because I don't know how well you'll see the ends there, but it is a knitted material. Like, that's the thing. The yarn that I used is like a knitted tube. It's its own I-cord, really. And so it could easily fray real bad. So I want to just get some sort of bead, some sort of stopper for the end of them, so that I can minimise the risk of it fraying any further. Okay, do I have any other finished objects? No. Let's move on to whips. So you already know that there's going to be a whip for a sweater for my other goddaughter. So here it is. If you've watched my Yomis, you'll know that I had to hunt high and low for some 9-inch circulars. So this is done exactly the same as the last one, although I'm using a different pattern for the numbers. Let's see, let's leave that one. So this is the Twisted Knitwear by Karen O'Hanlon Court, and the pattern is called the Good Old Raglan. This one just has sizes going from 0 to 3 months up to 13 to 14 years, whereas the Tweedy Junior only has 3 to 6 months up to 3 to 4 years. So I could have used the Good Old Raglan for the younger goddaughter, but I didn't know that at the time, and I just went with it because it was a free pattern, and it was probably one of the most projects on Ravelry, so I just went with that one. And then when I needed a slightly bigger size, I went hunting, and that's when I've seen that the Good Old Raglan has a much wider size range, and I could have just made the littlest from that pattern as well. So for this one, I think I am, if I remember correctly, even though my goddaughter is 6, she's wearing a 7 to 8, so I'm doing a size 9 to 10 just to make sure it's actually going to fit. And I'm not 100% convinced. Like, yes, there is stretch, but when you stretch it, it's not as good a fabric. So I've done exactly the same thing with this one. All the ribbing will be on a 4mm needle, and the body and the sleeves will be on a 4.5. It is the exact same yarn. I'm not deliberately having them have matching sweaters. The hope was, my deluded hope was that I would have enough time to knit like one in the blue, and then one for each of them in the blue, and then I've got a red and a pink. And I really don't know why I thought I would manage to get that done in less than a month. So the sleeves are on hold at the moment, and basically what's happening and why they're on hold is because I could not find my 9-inch circulars anywhere, even though I knew for a fact I just bought them fairly recently. And I don't know why it just slipped my mind as to where they were, because I bought them for a specific project. I bought them for my mum's cardigan, which I will not be showing off even though I have made progress on that. I bought two 4.5 9-inch circulars so that I could work the sleeves of my mum's sweater. But I think I've got confused when I've done my littlest goddaughter's sweater, because I would have used those circulars for her sweater. But I think somewhere in my mind I've just had this massive disconnect and I've not remembered any of this. And so I turned the house upside down trying to find these 9-inch circulars when I could have just magic looped it the whole time. And then when I couldn't find them, I was like, right, fine, I'll work on another project. Like, I threw a proper strop and I put the sweater down and I worked on my mum's sweater, and I pulled my mum's sweater out, and lo and behold, there are the two 9-inch circulars on the sleeves, mid-sleeve. So that was annoying, but funny. I had a good giggle at that I had just been like hunting high and low, and they were right in front of me the whole time, just in a project bag. Like, I couldn't physically see them, but they were right in front of me, metaphorically, kind of, in a project bag. So I will need to magic loop these sleeves, because I'm not taking the 9-inch circulars off my mum's sleeves to work them on this. So I'll just do magic loop and I'll just get it over and done with. But I'm hoping to get this done and finished. Like, it shouldn't take me that long to knit little sleeves, because you'll do the decreases and they'll just fly even more. And as long as I get them to do like just below the body, like, it really shouldn't take me too long. Okay. Next work in progress. Oh, I dropped a ball of yarn. I'm all tangled. Oh dear. Actually, before we go into the next project, I'm going to stop and restart because my camera only records in 30-minute bursts. Okay, we are back. So, I don't think I've shown this off, but after my corner to corner crochet blanket was done, I kind of just wanted another blanket. And I wish I had started another corner to corner crochet one, because this knitted one, it's not as fun. So I started this one, which is a corner to corner knitted blanket, but it's not corner to corner crochet blanket. And I haven't made a ton of progress, even though I genuinely thought like I would be in love with this project and it would just fly off my needles, and no. I think I'm also trying to decide, so I showed the yarn off for this in the projects I want to cast on video that I done, and I've got 3 balls of this faux fur in this gorgeous cream colour, and then I've got 3 in a brown. And I thought I was going to alternate them and go cream, brown, so on. But I'm now also thinking, do I just do 1/2 cream and 1/2, well, it's going to be marled brown, because it's going to have this yarn held with it. And now that I'm kind of pointing that marled bit out to myself, I think I'm going to do cream brown. Okay. Thank you for being with me whilst I made that decision that you didn't know was happening. So I just started with 3 stitches, and I increase only at the start of every round. I don't increase at both sides, I only increase at the start of every round. So I've still got a ways to go, and I'm still only on the first ball of yarn. But like I say, this has not been picked up probably the month of December. If it was picked up in the month of December, it was only really the first week of December. But I do look forward to it being finished. Like, I think this will be a really lovely blanket. I think it will keep me nice and snugly warm. And like with the faux fur and everything, it really is soft as anything. It's just it's a bit of a slog. I'm hearing water. I think it's raining really bad outside. I can't see anything. So, well. It would be like pouring out the back and absolutely fine out the front. But yeah, I'm not following a pattern for this. I don't particularly know the brand of yarn. This was Peter Pan, and then the other one is another one of those Turkish yarns that you get. I think it's like Armilla or something. And it's from Ice, like the website Ice Yarns. Oh, my tea is going cold. Well, I guess it has been over half an hour that I've been talking. So I think I might leave this out on my work desk and try and work on it a little bit when I've got meetings. The thing is though, like, I've not had a lot of meetings, they've all been cancelled recently, and so that's another reason why this hasn't received any work. But yeah, maybe when I start getting some other projects off the needles, I will get back to working on this. Okay, I have 3 more works in progress to go, and then I want to show off some yarny things. So on the 1st of December, I cast on some socks. And they were meant to be my sock projects where I would have them done and I could wear them on Christmas Day. That did not go to plan, and it all kind of goes back to knitting whilst I'm working, so on meetings, or to try to slow down how much work I do. That won't make very much sense to some people, but my supervisor 100% understands. But yeah, I started these on the 1st of December, and I've only really made progress since this past Saturday. So since Christmas Eve, I've only really made progress. So it looks weird when I hold it back here, but when I bring it forward, you really see the micro striping. And I really don't think this was a planned micro stripe. But yeah, when I hold it all the way back here, it just looks like this weird colour, like kind of like 3D without your 3D glasses. But it's when you bring it forward that you really see the micro stripe. And so I tried to talk about this on my Yomas, but it was after a couple of drinks and I kind of sounded really stupid trying to talk about it. So I've done 15 rows of 2x2 for the cuff. I've then done a longer leg for myself. Now normally I think I would probably have cut it off about here out of boredom, but I've decided that I really need to stick with it and start making socks just a little bit longer on the leg. And so I knit 60 rows and it looked good, and then I was just like, well, it only takes me up to 75 rows in total, surely 80 rows would be better. So I extended it by another 5 rows. The other one's got a wee bit more progress on it. And then I've done a standard heel flap and gusset. I was toying with the idea of doing an eye of partridge, but I start doubting myself when I'm doing an eye of partridge heel, if I'm being honest, where I have to always check whether I started slip knit or knit slip. And so I've just decided standard heel, I can all follow where my slip stitches are and I'll know exactly where my knit stitches are. And I'm kind of glad I've done that because I was working on this whilst I was watching something. Sorry, that's my supervisor just messaging me. I'm like, oh my god, am I in trouble? No. I mock her for the fact she never logs off on time, and she's always still online at like 20 past or half past the hour. And that's her just messaging me like 5 minutes ago saying, not gloating or anything, but I've just logged off. And she was only 1 minute past the hour this time, but she's got family at her house just now, so I'm just glad. Like, I keep saying to her that she's to log off on time, but she never does. So this sock has more progress on it than the other one. I have finished the decreases for the heel. So that's the heel completely finished on this one. Whereas on this one I still need to finish the decreases. I think I've still got 8 decrease rounds to go, so 16 in total. And what I'm doing is I'm working them concurrently. So I done, well, for the longest time I had them on magic loop and I was doing 2 at a time. And then if I'm being completely honest, I just can't. I really can't. I need them, I need one big, I need a run at it. Like I need to do a portion and then move on. And then go to the other one and do that portion. So what I mean is, had the cuff not been done on 2 at a time, I would have done my 15 rows and then gone and done my 15 rows. And then I would have done 65 and then I'd have done 65. And so that's exactly what I'm doing now. I done the heel flap and the heel turn, and I done the heel flap and the heel turn. I've done all my decreases, so I'm now doing all my decreases on this one. And then I will do the foot, make sure they're both at exactly the same length, because if you remember my Halloween sock along socks, they were like 3 rows out. And then I will do the toe. So the yarn for this is from Poplar Yarn Company. It looks better slightly in a cake. This looks kinda, you can't really see the colours, but my cake isn't very neat. So this is from Poplar Yarn Company, and this is Holly and the Ivy. This was a colourway from a couple of years ago, so it's been sat in my stash for probably 2 years. And it's really, really nice. It's very soft. It's a very shiny yarn. Well, I think it's a very shiny yarn. But again, like, it definitely lends itself to a close-up. I'm definitely glad I'm doing socks, because honestly I don't know what else I would make with this colour of yarn. Like, it's a really gorgeous yarn, and it was gorgeous in a skein. But knitting it up, like, again, it's like when you aren't looking at it up close and in detail, it just looks kind of weird. I don't know if it's just me, but it just looks, again, it's like it's trying to be 3D but with the wrong 3D colours. Like, it messes with my eyes. Maybe it's probably just me, but it messes with my eyes. So I know I keep talking about work knitting, but these have been on my desk the last 2 days. I just haven't got round to it. My work ethic is really warped at the moment. I'm trying to constantly, I'm just taking on too much work. So maybe come the new year, I will set myself a New Year's resolution to not take on too much work, and between every task I do a round of knitting and see if that helps me slow down instead of just, I'm not a bull in a china shop, but I feel like I'm mentally on speed or something and just like got to get through it. So yeah. I've never taken speed, by the way. I don't know, but I've heard people say it just makes them, like, get shit done. Where do I put these so they don't fall over? Oh, there we go. Okay. I'm just weary of the time. I'm still good. Another project that has been receiving quite a bit of love, which makes me very happy, is my Granny Stripe crochet blanket, which is a pattern by Attic24, and I am doing it in scraps of a more kind of rustic, hard wearing sock yarn, so the likes of Opal and Regia and a few of the slightly, they're up and coming brands for sock yarn, I would say. So West Yorkshire Spinners, they're very well known. But I'm talking more of the likes of, it's now totally escaping my head, and I've got tons of balls of it sitting in my cupboard. Head Over Feet, King Cole, Sardar, maybe. I'm just naming brands. I know the brands I'm talking about, so let's just stick with Regia and Opal. Let's just go with that. So my magic knot ball is slowly decreasing in size. Is it slowly decreasing, or is it just, I don't know. And I definitely got a lot of joy working on this when the weather was really cold here in Scotland. It's still cold, it's just not as cold. And I've got a couple of rows on it. It doesn't look like much, but you got to remember the width of my blanket. And so I've done 10 rows. And I only really worked on it 2 days, which really doesn't sound like much in the grand scheme of things with pretty much the whole month of December. It's not very much. But it definitely has brought me joy and warmth. If you did not pull a blanket out in the really cold weather, you missed a great opportunity. And that's exactly what I done and why I done it. I pulled it out because I needed some extra warmth and I wanted to work on something. And what better way to combine those two than a blanket? Fair enough, actually. I should preface that by my blanket is quite a considerable length already. And so if your blanket isn't a good length, might not keep you as warm as mine did. Mine was long enough to cover, like, stretched out on the sofa, my back upright and my legs out. So I wasn't lying down, but my body was upright and my legs were completely out. My blanket is long enough to sit up round my tummy, but still cover my entire legs and my feet. And so it kept me very snugly warm, and I managed to get some progress on it as well, which is always good. I don't see the point in showing it off in full detail every time, so that's why I'm not really bringing it out. Okay, a new project. Debra of Diary of a Physicist, Farmgal, and myself are doing a crochet along. I was going to say cal with a C and not a cal with a K, but it's just easier to say a crochet along. And we are doing a crochet along for an African flower crochet design. We are doing smaug, but you do not have to. You can do any of the crochet African flower animals. And most of the designs are by Heidi Bears or Heidi Bear. A Heidi Bears design pattern, copyright Heidi Bears. Yep. So this is Smaug, the African flower dragon. I say it's Smaug because it reminds me of The Hobbit. My camera is flashing that my battery is about to die, so I will pick this up after I have finished work and put my camera on charge. Really sorry about that, but I don't want it to just cut off and not notice. So I will be back later to talk about Smaug. Okay, so 2 hours later, we're back. I'm just going to take my glasses off. Yeah, I got myself a glasses chain, so I might actually remember where I put my glasses when I pop them down. Okay, so before my camera so rudely decided that it didn't have enough battery because I'd done so much vlogging for You'll Miss, we were talking about all the Smaugs Cal, which is crochet along, so the CAL, that myself and Debra of Diary of a Physicist, Farmgal are doing. And it does not have to be the Smaug pattern, which is the dragon. It can be any of the African flower dragon patterns. And there are so many to choose from. So if you can crochet and you also want to take part, please check out the link that I will put in the description box below with all the patterns that you could possibly choose from. So I have a lot of yarn in here, a lot of different colours, and that's because you make different motifs. And until I decided that I was going to make the girls their sweaters, I was working on a couple of different coloured motifs. So I have 1, 2, 5, 6, 7. I've got 8 motifs. I thought I had more than 8. And they're all slightly different in colour. So I've got yellow, green and pink. Oh no, I've dropped one. I've got kind of like a really pale purple, yellow and green. Pink, orange and red. Blue, orange and red. Red, blue and orange. Green, blue and, nope, green, pink and blue. Orange, red and blue. And then lastly, not sure how I feel about this one, a kind of grey, pale violet and yellow. So I had all the coloured yarn laid out in front of me, and I would do the first 3 and then I would move up the next one and do, so 1, 2 and 3, 2, 3 and 4, 3, 4 and 5 and so on and so forth, to try and get a couple of different options. And I hope that's going to work going forward. Like, I took a photo of the order I had the yarn in so that I can go back when I pick this project back up. And the only thing is, the pattern calls for you to do this with 4-ply yarn. I think it's like a 1.75mm crochet hook, but I'm doing mine with DK, and I just saw my hook a minute ago, and I'm doing it on a 2.5mm crochet hook. This one lights up, although I think it just died a death. There we go. So I have changed the way I'm doing mine. I know Debra's also changed hers. I think she's doing hers on worsted weight. And so ours are going to turn out bigger than the pattern. But there was just no way I was doing it on a 1.75 crochet hook with 4-ply. Hiccup. It wasn't happening. So I'm doing mine with DK weight and a 2.5mm crochet hook. I was kind of hoping I'd get away with a 3, but I tried that. Like, I actually tested it and I felt like the holes in it were just too big. So there is some holes in this. Like, you can see that one there. I'm trying to put something behind it that you can see through. But yeah, like, you've got some holes. And I just want the holes small enough that the stuffing won't be a problem. But it's also not going to be for like a kid. This is going to be mine. It's going to probably go on my sofa or in one of my cubbies. Like, you can see some of my stuffies that I have. And so it's not going to get played with and messed around with and jostled. So hopefully these holes are small enough that the stuffing won't come out, but time will tell. So yeah, that cal started on the 1st of December. There is no end date, it's just whenever we get things finished, and then we might wrap up at the tail end of 2023, we might carry it into 2024, who knows. So if this is the first you're hearing of it, which is highly likely, I think I did mention it in the last podcast, there's still plenty of time to join in. And I can't wait to kind of get back to this one. This was it's quite a fun project, like just moving through different yarns. Okay, so I have a few yarns to show off. Some are purchases, actually all of them are purchases, but one load of them is my advent altogether. So first things first, I got 2 cones of yarn from Woolly Knit during what I think, if I'm remembering correctly, was their Black Friday sale. And I've got quite a few cones of Woolly Knit, and it's what I knit the main body, the main colour of my care sweater in was Woolly Knit. But this is the merino yarn, whereas all the ones I have are the British yarn. And I really just wanted to see what the merino was like, and so I just got two. So this mustard yellow gold colour is Inca Gold, and then I can't pronounce this one, but it's Frambuesa, so Frambuesa pink. I would just call it magenta, but I got these, and hopefully these are going to become sweaters at some point. I will show my advent off in just a moment, but I then also, so my work were very kind and gave us a £125 gift voucher, and the only frustrating part about how they done it was, instead of it being a physical card, it was like an online e-gift card, and the maximum you could put on these e-gift cards was £100. So they gave us one e-gift card for 100 and one e-gift card for 25. And to use it in store wasn't the simplest thing in the world. That's the one bad thing about the company they chose that I would want to feed back to them. I think a lot of people, especially people with Android phones or Google phones, what they found the hardest to work with. So I think a lot of feedback's going to go back to the company to make them aware that this could have been done better, or maybe use a different company. Because they've used a previous company in the past where you could go on and choose where you wanted to spend the money, which could be quite restricting to some people, who you had to be like, right, okay, I'm going to use it only in this store, or I would like to break it down to £50 in this store and £50 in that store. And then from there you can decide whether or not you need a physical gift card or you want an e-gift card. So I figured it all out. I decided that I was going to buy some yarn from John Lewis. If I could have found someone that wanted to buy them, I probably would have gone to a different store. I don't think John Lewis is that great for their wool selection anymore. They maybe used to be, but they certainly aren't now. They don't put a lot of thought into their craft department, in my opinion. And I'd also have preferred to have supported small independent businesses as well. But as it was, with the list of shops I had available to me, I went with John Lewis. And I got a lot of stuff. Some of it was over the £125, so bear that in mind. So first of all, I bought 3 balls of this Colour Lab DK, and I got it in the Stormy Grey colourway. This has a specific project in mind for it, and I wasn't 100% sure how many balls I would need. I think I can get away with 2, but I got 3 just to be on the safe side. And this is going to be my contrasting colour for the Cat Vent sweater that I was hoping to start during Advent with my minis, but things went a little bit awry there, and that's absolutely fine. It's working out in my favour now. So this is going to be my contrasting colour. And then one of the big things I wanted to buy was, okay, so rewind probably to about October, maybe before that. Scott and I went up to Glasgow, and I went into John Lewis to just go in and see what yarn they had, see if they had any good deals on. Like sometimes when you walk in, they've got some really decent deals on yarn and it's really reduced, but your timing has to literally be spot on. And so we went up and I had a look around and I fell in love with some of the Rowan yarn. I don't normally buy Rowan. I find that they're getting very expensive for what you get. And there was no price tag. None of the Rowan stuff in this John Lewis store had a price tag, which was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Other stuff had price tags. Some little cubes didn't have price tags, but none of the Rowan stuff had a price tag. So I grabbed 2 skeins thinking I would do like maybe a colour work project, and I went up to the counter and I was like, hey, really sorry, but could you tell me how much this is? There's no price tags like around the area at all. And the guy was really, really lovely and really nice about it. He's like, yep, of course, let me just check the computer. And he scanned it through and he's just like, it's £19. And I think it was £19 and something, so like 90 pence, 50 pence. There was pence involved. And I was literally like, no, not a chance. And so I just said, sorry, but I'm not paying that price. And he'd said on the computer that he can actually see that the price has been going up, which is crazy to me, but it is what it is. And so I just said to him, no, sorry, I can't proceed with the purchase. And I was on John Lewis over the Black Friday weekend. I don't normally shop. Was it? Yeah, Black Friday. I don't normally shop Black Friday. It's not a thing here in the UK. It is now, but it's not a thing like it is in America. But because we were getting the vouchers in the run up to Black Friday, I was on looking to spend the money. And the Moordale yarn that I had fallen in love with was reduced to £10. And so I picked up 6 skeins of this colour, which is turmeric. So this is a DK weight yarn, and it is made with British wool and British alpaca. So it's 70% wool, 30% alpaca, and there is 230 metres per skein. So I got, was it 6 or 7 did I get? I got 6 skeins of this loveliness. There. And I maybe need a 7th skein, so I'm thinking a contrasting colour. But I'm wondering if I have something in my stash already that I could use and just, I think it's just like a 100% wool alternative, but it looks very similar to this, the makeup of this yarn. So I think I could probably get away with it. So I'm really, really happy that I got this, because this is yarn I really wanted. Like, I would never have bought this for myself had I not had this gift card, so essentially free money, because in my eyes this was just an expense that I didn't need. So I thought, it's money I didn't have beforehand, it's money I don't have to pay back unless I leave the company, which currently I'm not planning to. Oh no, sorry, that was a different amount of money the work gave us. So this was just their way of saying thank you, and because of that I treated myself. Like, I really treated myself. Like I said, especially at its original price, there was just no way I would buy this yarn, and especially not a sweater's quantity. Okay, let's pop this down here without dropping any. Okay, and then between the West Yorkshire Spinners and the Rowan, I had a little bit of money left over. So I think everything came to just about like 70, under 80 quid. So I still had 40, maybe 50 quid left. I don't remember the grand total of the first order. So I got the Colour Labs, or the West Yorkshire Spinners, and the Moordale online. I purchased those online with the gift card. And then I was left with a £25 gift card that I hadn't touched. And then I think there's something in my brain saying that I had £23 left on the 100. let's go between 23 and 30 quid left over. So I had in the region of 40 to 50 quid left on this gift card. And at the time, I was in Glasgow and I went to John Lewis with the intentions of buying enough yarn for a specific pattern that unfortunately I was not picked to be a test knitter for. But that's not going to stop me buying the pattern when it's released and making the jumper. So I now have the yarn regardless. And that is for the Dorney sweater by Rebecca of the Creabea, the same designer I test knit the Care sweater for. And it's just, it goes to show that John Lewis just don't care enough about their store, especially their craft department. Like, that's the emphasis, their craft department. They don't really care about it because there was not enough stock. A lot of the cubes were empty. When I asked if they had anything in the back, like, so they'd have maybe like 4 skeins out of one colour. If I was like, do you have any more in the back? Like, I need at least 7 skeins. Actually, I think I needed 9 skeins. And the salesperson, right enough, very kindly went to go check, but she came back being like, no, we've not got anything. I was like, what about this colour? No, not got that. What about this one? No. Okay, what do you have the quantity I need? What colour do you have in an iron weight in the quantity I need? And she came back, she's like, the cream. I was like, no, that's not happening. And she's like, the only thing you can do is do it online. And I was like, no, the reason I've come to store is because I have these gift cards. I don't want to have to do 3 transactions and pay 3 lots of shipping. It's not happening. So I worked with what they had. I could have waited and then I would have found out I wasn't picked as a tester, but I was impatient. I wanted everything done at that point on that day. So I have enough quantity of this yarn, but in 2 colorways. Not colorways, sorry, dye lots. And there's ever so slight colour difference. Tiny, teeny, but enough that I am definitely going to have to alternate and do some helical knitting, which is absolutely fine. I don't mind that at all. So this is the West Yorkshire Spinners in the Croft Shetland colours, and it's 100% Shetland wool, and you get 166 metres in a 100 gram hank. So this is iron weight, and I got this in the Norwick colour, which is colour 172. And like I said, I've got, I would say like 7 or 9 skeins. I think it's 7. Oh no, I was wrong. 9. So, let's see. No! I dropped one! Oh, I've dropped something else now. How do other podcasters do this? Oh. I am going to have to admit defeat in a minute. There, we'll do it this way. So I have 9 skeins of this beautiful yarn in this gorgeous colourway. It was not the colourway I wanted initially, unfortunately, but it's the only one they had where there was enough quantity in the store. And like I said, it is over 2 different dye lots, which is a pain, but I mean, it's not. Let's see if I can find the 2. Because like, it's so minimal, and it's only 2 out of the 9. Right, there's one. Right, okay, so here's one of the two on the different colourway, and here's the original one. So in store, with an overhead light, you can see a slight difference, and I can't tell if you can see it on the screen or not, because like the light is above and there's another light coming from my right, so that's it's causing different shadows and stuff. So in store you could just see a difference in the colorways, enough that you do really need to do some good blending or helico knitting. But like me just looking at them, I don't see it. I did in the store, but they had a lot more overhead lighting than I have. So yeah, I got 9 of these suckers, and it will be a sweater. It will be the Dorney sweater. Oh, I just threw that bag away. Okay, I'm going to put them all away once I'm finished recording, because this is getting too fiddly. Okay, so almost last but by no means least is, I think I'll show off my box first. So I had the pleasure of being gifted, try to make as least noise as possible. I had the pleasure of being gifted a winter solstice box by Fiberpunk. This was so kindly bought by my friend Aileen for my Christmas, but I opened it in time for you. And if you have this box and you haven't opened it, look away now, because I'm going to show what was in my box. So the first thing I opened was this really lovely ornament that will probably be staying up all year round. If I'm honest, I don't really see this as just a Christmas or Yule ornament. I think this is really, really lovely. So this is done with wood burning, and as far as I'm aware, Mark has done it himself. So that's really gorgeous. And then the next thing I opened was these stitch markers, and it's snowflakes. And then we've got some tea. So I don't know how to say the word, but I think it's rubios or rooibos. No, it's not rubios. The I is before the B, so I think it's rooibos. Ignore the rubios, it's right. I think it's rooibos. But this is some mince pie tea, which I think I need to check if there's caffeine in this. Because if there's caffeine in this will need to wait for till tomorrow. I don't know if it's a black tea. I think it is a black tea, which means it has to wait till tomorrow. And now the piece de la resistance. Sorry if I butchered that. Again, if you haven't opened yours, look away now. Because I'm going to show off the yarn. Look at that yarn. Like, isn't that stunning? So this is mince pies. It is the non-mulesing superwash merino, 25% nylon, and there's 400 meters in this gorgeousness. And I reckon this is going to have to be a shawl. I think this needs its own Like no other yarn mixed in with it, just all on its own. But yeah, it was such a beautiful box, and I was really honoured to have been treated to it by my friend. Okay, where's the other screen? Okay, so last but by no means least is my advent calendar, and I have 3 minutes to talk about this before my camera stops recording. So, if you have the Amo Yarns advent calendar, the Winter Skies, and you've not finished opening it, look away now because I'm going to show it off. So this is the 100-gram skein that we got. It might not come across with much colour, but I would say when I initially opened it, I kind of got the impression of like a mint green. I kind of take that back and I'm going with frost, hence the Winter Skies. There's little hints of very, very, very pale blue and some kind of, I don't know whether to class it as undyed or just extremely pale. But I'm going to go with this is meant to kind of replicate frost. So initially on my Yomas I did say a mint green, but now that I'm seeing it in a different light, I'm going with frost. And now these are the minis. Now I've chained mine all together so that I can keep them in order, so that when I do get to work on my sweater, I know the order they're in. So I'd put it on as a necklace, but the chains keep coming undone. Like, it's not the most secure thing I've ever made. Let's see if I can tighten these up quickly. Nearly there. There. Look at those colours! Let's see if I can get a good screen capture for the podcast. Oh, just look at that loveliness. So we go from a black, purple, blues, more kind of purples to pinks to orange and yellow lastly. So, yeah. I'm so happy with how this has turned out. Like sometimes when you've got like a mystery or something, there's always like maybe a wee bit of disappointment that it wasn't what you had hoped for. But Becky has really knocked out. Maybe John, I don't know if John helped this year. I remember talking to Becky and she said that it was all up to her this year. But Becky and John, or just Becky, have really knocked it out of the park this year. Again, this probably looks really unappealing because of the way I've chained them together and I've joined them. That was on me, I've done that. But if you just take a moment to like really appreciate the colours. Like the gradient here is amazing. And then there is, of course, some neons, which you know I appreciate. So you've got the neon yellow, the neon orange, the neon pink. I guess you could say neon blue. Maybe it's just really good turquoise. But yeah, I'm really, really happy with my advent calendar this year, and if I haven't already made it clear, this is going to become the cat vent, which is where which is where this stormy grey comes into place, I think this is going to work really, really well together. The only thing I might do is I might omit the black, because that's quite, it's very, very close. But on the front and the back, from what I've read of the pattern, my understanding is it's just the minis with a white, an undyed, or whatever contrast colour you're using. And then this is just the collar and the sleeves and the hem. So really the black would be on the tops of the shoulders, but it would be very close to the collar and then the top of the sleeve. Maybe I'm just overthinking it, because at least the black would still have a really good contrast with the white. But just looking at that black, like, it's really quite close to the grey. So I'm not sure. Just so that I maybe have enough yarn, I'll probably just stick it in anyway. There should be enough meterage here. Believe it or not, there should be enough for me, for my big person size. I think these are 40 meters a mini. And so there should be plenty of yarn for me. Oh, hang on, I think I need to reduce it down in size a bit. There we go. Excuse me. Okay, so there's only one other bit that I want to discuss, and it's just to talk about an upcoming knit along. Hey. I say we, Jessica of Army Wife Knitting Life. Sorry, I didn't even have my phone to check. I will correct it down below, and I'll put the link to her podcast, or tag her podcast. So Jessica of Army Wife Knitting Life and Debra of Diary of a Physicist Farmgal, we are all going to co-host a knit along for the Kelvin Hall Show. So this is my 4-ply version. There is instructions to make a DK weight as well. I have 2 DK weight ones and a 4-ply, and I'm actually going to start my 3rd DK weight one, because I think I'm going to rip back my yellow one. I've never wore it, and there was technically enough of that yellow yarn for a jumper, so I might rip back my yellow one. But this is my 4-ply one that I wear quite a bit, and it keeps me so snuggly warm. Right, let me take off my yarn scarf and put on the Kelvin Hall shawl. So we are going to be doing a knit along for this shawl as of the 1st of January. I don't think we're doing a deadline again. I think we quite like these kind of open-ended knit-alongs. So if you want to join us on this knit-along, the links to get the pattern, if you don't already have it, are in the description box below, and I really hope you will join us. I will link the 2 ladies' podcasts down below. Please check them out, even if you're not going to join us for the knit-along. I really, really love their podcasts, and I hope you will join us. Sorry. I hope you will join us in the knit along. Like I say, it does start January 1st. There is no deadline. So if you can't join us on the 1st of January and you want to join us like 4 months into the year, 6 months into the year, then that is absolutely fine. But stay tuned for more details if there are going to be any. I need to talk to Debra and Jessica just to see what's happening there. Sorry, I really need a drink. So I'm just going to wrap it up here. Like, I know that was really short and sweet there about the knit along, but I think you would rather I cut it off here than keep coughing. But I hope you join us in the knit along, and I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Please remember to leave your happy thing that's happened this week in the comments below if you would like to enter for the chance of winning a surprise pattern. Again, it'll be a pattern of your choice, like if you've got a specific one in mind, or I will pick one from your wish list, but it does need to be £8 or under. So yeah, I just want to express my gratitude and my thanks to you again for sticking with my podcast these last 7 years. It really, really does mean a lot to me. I may not be the best at interacting, whether that's to do with my anxiety or whatnot, but please know I really do appreciate it and I'm so thankful for you. Until my next podcast, which is probably going to be a video to go through how many projects I'm taking into the new year, which I will probably record this weekend. I do hope you stay safe, keep crafting, and I hope you have a lovely time. Bye everyone.